by carrying guns for the regime. They were in the security, in the mukhabarat, the intelligence, or they were in the military. And now, like him, they've gone. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Damascus.
With me in the studio, Mohamed Taha from BBC Arabic. Good morning, Mohamed.
Good morning,
so tell us more about what's been happening overnight.
So the main development in Syria at the moment is that the opposition troops managed to recapture or gain the city of Deir ez-Zor in eastern the country. This city was under the Assad rule before, and then once the Assad rule collapsed, the Kurds troops captured the city. Now the opposition captured this city, and now it is part of that big area, widening area that the opposition are continuing to capture.
And the Israeli airstrikes in Syria, we've already heard there's condemnation in parts of the Arab world about this. What more can you tell us about that?
Of course, the Israeli army announced that they launched more than 500 airstrikes on Syria since Sunday. They destroyed completely the navy force of the Syrian army, destroyed all the fighters, all the warplanes, destroyed the air defenses, destroyed most of the ammunition storages. Actually, the Syrian army now is completely gone. And also the Israel recaptured the buffer zone that was established 50 years ago between the two countries. Now we can say easily that the biggest army force in Syria at the moment is the Israeli army, is not Russia, is not the opposition, are not the Kurds, but the Israeli army. And when we look at the big vision or big view, Sally, we see that the Israeli army now is capturing part of Syria, and they are still capturing or occupying part of South Lebanon. They're of course occupying Gaza and West Bank, and they are occupying the Philadelphia corridor between Egypt and Israel. Israel now practically occupying all its neighboring countries, which is making the situation in the Middle East is very volatile.
Okay, Mohamed, thank you so much. Well, let's discuss this further with Simon Frankel-Pratt, who's Senior Lecturer in Political Science at the University of Melbourne. Welcome to BBC News, Simon. I don't know if you're able to hear my conversation with Mohamed there, but give us your take on what Israel has been doing since the fall of the Assad regime.
Well, Israel is nervous about the possibility of jihadi or militant Islamist movements coming to dominate the victorious Syrian opposition and coming to dominate the formation of a new Syrian regime, whatever constitutional order emerges. So, as your correspondent mentioned, Israel has been sort of preventively decimating or ruining what remains of Assad's military infrastructure and materiel. And this includes the Air Force. This would be any sort of rocket arsenal that Israel can put its hands on. This is the overwhelming majority of airstrikes has been Israel taking the opportunity to basically ruin what remains of Assad's military. And then there is, as your correspondent mentioned, the expanded buffer zone that Israel has established, that it has entered Syria and taken control of some swaths of land that were previously part of a demilitarized buffer. And some of this is fairly strategically significant, notably Israel consolidating its control over Mount Hermon, a kind of northern mountain peak that offers a very useful vantage point and surveillance point that provides both visual and radar line of sight throughout much of the region. Israel has said that this is temporary, but of course the word temporary is open to interpretation, especially in the Middle East.
And what does this do when it comes to negotiations between Israel and other countries with regards to the future of Gaza?
Well, Hamas is very isolated now, and the indication from Hamas's leadership is that their isolation has led them to be a little more flexible in negotiations. Whether this is matched by any flexibility from Prime Minister Netanyahu is an open question, and in any case, he may be a little bit distracted by his corruption trial at the moment. With Hezbollah in the north of in the south of Lebanon effectively eroded. And with the Assad regime fallen, Israel is in a much stronger position geopolitically in the region. Iran is a much less serious threat toward it. And so this may put Israel in a more open negotiating position in some ways as it feels more secure. On the other hand, there's less pressure on Israel now to make compromises. So it's hard to say.
OK. Simon Frankel-Pratt, thank you for your analysis on this.